and a half the other night on the phone. Actually, Gwen talked for most of that. I listened. She has a wealth of knowledge. She's been an activist for many, many years and was an observer and participant in many movements in the 60s. Comes from the South, but's been here in Montana for many years. She serves on the U.S. Commission for Human Rights for the state of Montana. And I'm going to pass it over to Gwen.
I think I can actually speak loud enough that you guys can hear me, because if you know me, I talk loud all the time anyway. I'm going to read most of this because there's some points I really want to get in. So here we go. When I was asked to share with you today and heard that the theme for this year was Big Dreams, Work Together, and Give Thanks, and that our Native sisters would be leading the march, I thought of the late 60s when I attended the University of Kentucky. I remember our white sisters coming and asking us if we would join in with them in the fight for women's equality. But we, as our Native sisters, had to say we cannot do that until our men have equality. I remember, and the thoughts came of the dreams that we had in the 60s when the AIM movement, the American Indian movement, worked with the Civil Rights Movement and participated in many groups like the Rainbow Coalition. I thought of AIM, the AIM Patrol, which was an urban American Indian version of the Black Panthers and began by black activists. AIM initially addressed civil rights violations, but later broadened its scope to address human rights violations. Dr. Martin Luther King had reached out to the Indian movement 2 weeks before he was assassinated in Memphis to talk to them about the poverty campaign he was putting on. Bobby Kennedy met with the Black Panthers and also the Native American leaders in California and talked with Indian leaders here in Montana, New York, and other states about the injustices that we were enduring. Malcolm X referred to the human rights struggle of the American Indian in his speeches and in his biography. He was actively attempting to introduce a condemnation motion at the United Nations shortly before he was assassinated. And then I thought of Anna Mae Oshkosh, the highest ranking woman in AIM. She was in Denver, Colorado, interrogated for hours, then transported to Rapid City, South Dakota. From there, they took her to the Rosebud Reservation, and then she was assassinated in a far corner on the Prime Ridge Reservation. Today, I am reminded of those things 50 years later because of the attitude of many of the people in our community. I have heard the N-word more in the last year, and the P-N word, that means prairie, in case you didn't know what the P part was. The prairie N-word more in the last year than I have heard since I moved to Montana in 1976. That is the atmosphere right now that we have from our government. I want to thank you for having me here today. I also want to say just this in closing. I thought today we fight against many of the same problems that we faced that are now compounded with drugs and alcohol. I thought I am grateful and thankful. I still have a big dream for equality for all. I work for all groups. I give thanks for all, and thank you for having me today.